1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
To je isto ko Speak of the House. Lahko? Malo dvignem to? Ok, redo. Je zdaj tortujo. Kako? Vse. Check mic, 1, 2, 1, 2. Zdravo. Dela. Potem ta je sklopen si ga. Ali? Da se ne bo, ok. Spoštovani predstavniki medijev, dobrodošli. Danes v Rimskih Toplicah poteka vrh Slovenije in Evropske vesoljske agencije, ki je posvečen vstopu Slovenije v polnopravno članstvo Ese. Sodeluje delegacija, močna delegacija Ese, predstavniki številnih držav članic in predstavniki inštitucij, ki delujejo v vesoljskem sektorju. Vrhunec današnjih dogodkov pa bo osrednja slovesnost ob vstopu Slovenije v polnopravno članstvo Ese v Vitanju s pričetkom ob 8. uri. A short recap for our English speakers. Today's summit is dedicated to the annexation of Slovenia into Ese, and for this purpose we've prepared a short press conference. Z nami so minister za gospodarstvo, turizem in šport, gospod Matjaž Han, gospod generalni direktor Ese Josef Aschbacher in gospod predsednik Sveta Ese Renato Krpoun. Začel bo gospod Han z kratkim nagovorom, na voljo bo tudi za vprašanje.
Hvala lepa. Še enkrat in lep dober dan tu v Rimskih Toplicah in lep dober dan imenitnim gostom. Danes je, spoštovani, za našo Slovenijo pomemben dan. Potem, ko je Slovenija 1. januarja letošnjega leta postala polnopravna članica Evropske vesoljske agencije, je danes v Rimskih Toplicah potekal vrh in pa poteka vrh Slovenija-Esa, v bistvu posvečen konkretnim načinom, kako še bolj tesno lahko sodelujemo, predvsem slovensko gospodarstvo, znanost z vsemi evropskimi vesoljskimi programi. Vesel sem, da imamo danes tako imenitne goste in da z nami in z našim gospodarstvom, z našo znanostjo delijo izkušnje, ki jih na nek način ustvarja že več kot 50 let. Moram povedati podatek, Esa ima letošnje leto praznuje 50 let delovanja in po 10 letih je prvič, da je zopet neka država postala polnopravna članica in to je Slovenija, in sem rekel gospodu direktorju, da je to lepo darilo za Eso, da je postala Slovenija polnopravna članica po 10 letih. Pogovarjamo se v teh dneh o seveda vključevanju slovenskih podjetij v evropske vesoljske programe. Ključno je, da bomo se pogledali, kakšno je naslednje 3-letno obdobje, ki bo sledilo naslednji ministerski konferenci Ese, predvsem pa pogovarjali se bomo o realizaciji zavez. Mi imamo vesoljsko strategijo narejeno, ki smo jo v lanskem letu sprejeli. V tem mandatu smo ustanovili vesoljsko pisarno v našem ministrstvu. Imeli smo relativno dobre pogovore in pogajanja za to, da smo ratali polnopravni člani. Povečali smo seveda financiranje za Eso in vemo, kakšna naloga nas naprej čaka. Ključno je, da imamo poleg strategije tudi jasno vizijo in da bo Slovenija vztrajala pri financiranju in seveda pri povezovanju in gospodarstva in znanosti z vesoljskimi programi. Ključno bi rad povedal za javnost, da ima Slovenija se je dokazala na različnih področjih, od razvoja satelitskih programov. Trenutno so v vesolju 3 slovenski sateliti, v letošnjem letu bo izstreljen še 4. Seveda imamo možnost sodelovati na telekomunikacijskih tehnologijah, potem so to aplikacije za opazovanje Zemlje in uporabo podatkov vremenskih, podnebnih in drugih pojavih na Zemlji. In v bistvu priložnosti na vesoljskem sektorju je res veliko. Jaz bi pa samo na koncu izrazil še enkrat zahvalo Tanji Permozer, državnemu sekretarju Frangežu in pa ekipi na našem ministrstvu za res trdo upravljeno delo. Samo medklic. V Nemčiji je zaposleno na tem področju 2000 ljudi, ki se, dnevno, upravlja to nalogo. Na našem ministrstvu in v Sloveniji je zaposlenih 7. Ampak nič manj nismo samozavestni, nič manj imamo ogromno idej in verjamem, da bo to pripomoglo k razvoju in vesoljske in pa gospodarske slike v Sloveniji. Tako da hvala vam lepa in bom zelo vesel, ko bom predal besedo doktorju Aschbacherju, ki bo seveda povedal tudi svoj pogled in na nek način tudi usmeritve, katere Slovenija more na nek način nadaljevati. Hvala vam lepa.
So thank you, Minister. I hope it's okay that I speak in English, but my Slovenian is not that strong in order to be able to communicate and speak. So the European Space Agency has now a 23rd member. This is a historic day for us to celebrate, but a very historic moment to have Slovenia as the 23rd country joining the European Space Agency. The last time we had this occasion to acquire, to have new members on board was 10 years ago. So it does not happen every year that we get a new member state. So it's a very special moment for us at ESA. It's a very special moment for Slovenia that this membership is now being made a reality. What does it mean to be a member of the European Space Agency? The European Space Agency has programs and activities that are funded by the countries. The countries, like Slovenia now as a full member, have a lot of influence on shaping them, defining them, funding them, implementing them through industry. 85% of the funding which we have, ESA has a budget of about 7.8 billion this year, 85% of this money is spent in the countries through industry. The principle of ESA is one of developing excellence through industry and research institutions, through competition, and we are well known internationally to be one of the best, I dare to say the best, but one of the best, most efficient space agencies worldwide, because we deliver success. Let me just recall what we have delivered last year, and now Slovenia is a full member of this family. Last year, we have launched 13 satellites, and we had inaugural flight of Ariane 6, which is the heavy lifter rocket, and the return to flight of Vega C, which is the medium-sized rocket, which we had to bring back to the launch pad after we had an incident 2 years ago. And this, first of all, gives Europe independent access to space, and we have satellites in orbit that are extremely good, extremely sophisticated, and they are all working successfully. That means we deliver success for Europe together. So you may ask, what can a country like Slovenia contribute to this? Of course, Slovenia, as you say, is a small country on Earth, but is a big country in space. But you are participating with your industry and with your technology on large projects. And this is the principle of ESA, that we define large programs and large projects, so rockets, satellite programs, observation, telecommunication, navigation programs, astronauts, all the space activities, and where each country, big or small, can participate according to their willingness, their budgets, and their national priorities. And this is the beauty of ESA, that you can really choose where your priority is nationally and therefore define how much money you want to invest in this particular program. But ESA is also known to build up a very strong industry. Many member states who have joined ESA have really developed a strong industry. I come from a small country as well, Austria, not too far from Slovenia. And I still remember when Austria joined the European Space Agency in 1987, the space industry was relatively small, and I'm not saying not important, but it was relatively small. But thanks to the involvement in large programs of ESA, from space science to Earth observation to telecom and navigation and many others, Austria has actually developed a strong industry over the last 15, 20 years. And the industry is so good that quite often they export to other countries within Europe, so from Austria to Germany, from Austria to Italy, but also to NASA, to JAXA, that means to Japan, to America, and to other countries. And I think this is also something where we as ESA help you in Slovenia, building up your industry, make it strong, so that you, of course, produce space technology for your own needs, for your own policies, but also for economic development. Let me say one word, since this is quite important and not often realized, of what space means today. Of course, you hear about space a lot in the news recently, in America, in China, in Japan, in India, and other countries. But the space economy is a very important one and a very attractive one. Today, I've discussed with the minister before, the space economy is worth about 500 billion euros. In the next decade, consultancy companies like McKinsey are predicting that this 500 billion develop to 1.8 trillion in terms of economic size. That means the economy grows by 10% per year on average. And that is one of the fastest growing sectors worldwide. In addition, space technology is used for security. Defense and security more and more becomes an issue. For climate change, for agriculture, for air traffic control, for health, and many other domains. So space is used in many domains of daily life. Weather forecasting relies to 80% on satellite data. Without satellites, the weather forecast would not be very good and not very accurate. Navigation, used every single day. And space technology, more and more in the future, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, will be part of the economy, especially of a modern society, of a forward-looking society. And Slovenia is one of these modern, forward-looking, industrialized societies which needs these companies for its own purpose. So space is attractive for many reasons, for economic reasons, societal reasons, inspiring young talents, young people to stay in Slovenia, to get other talents into Slovenia, because it's an interesting activity which you may build up together with other countries. So there's a lot of attraction of space in general, and being a member of ESA, of the European Space Agency, we help you doing that. This is our duty, this is our task, our pleasure, to work with you in making your space industry large, successful, so that the small country on Earth becomes a big country in space. Thank you.
Thank you, General Director. Next up, izjava predsednika Sveta Ese Renata Krpuna.
So thank you very much. Also from my side, it's a great pleasure to be here. I'm the chair, the president of the ESA Council, and I represent in some sorts all member states. And first of all, I mean, we heard from the Director General, what does ESA bring to Slovenia? And I think it's important also to inverse. I also come from a small member state, and also to inverse what does the small country, or Slovenia, which a small country on Earth, big country in space, bring to the European Space Agency. And I think there are 4 elements which are important for us. And first of all, I think it's the human capital. I mean, when you go to an ESA site, if you're in Estec in Holland, or if you're in Paris, you will meet 22 member states, 23. We have the associate member states now, and the full member states with Slovenia. So it's a melting pot of different culture, bringing in a lot of diversity, a lot of ideas which are important to move forward with space in Europe. So the human capital is one element. Then the second element is the capabilities. The capabilities Slovenia has developed over the last few years, and we have seen a lot of them this morning. On one hand, the capabilities when it comes to hardware in space, where now the step has to be to come out of Slovenia and working together with Slovenian companies, to start working together with companies across Europe, to be able to participate in the different ESA projects which Slovenia will be able now to participate into. And I'll say a few words on that later. Then, of course, on when it comes to the capabilities aspect also, when it comes to the use, because we're not just doing space for fun, we're doing space for the citizens, and this is important that the use, the capabilities we are building in orbit, the space infrastructure, be it satellites, Earth observation satellites, meteorological satellites, and so on, that their benefits can fully be reaped on our planet. Then, of course, the third element is each country in Europe has a unique geography. Slovenia, alpine country, water, mountains, a lot of forests. I've seen almost 60% of forests in Slovenia. So you bring a unique capability, a unique knowledge of your environment. And when you start building a digital twin of the Alps, I think this is something where many countries which are in this alpine region will really benefit from. So I think it's something which is very important to bring your local knowledge into ESA. And finally, of course, the budget. Let's be honest, the more budget we get into the European space, this allows us to do more overall, to participate in world-class programs, be it on the exploration side, be it on the Earth observation side, navigation, and so on, and keep Europe an important player in space, which, of course, today, when we see the global competition, is an enormously important thing. And of course, we would not be here today if it wasn't for the dedication of the government. We heard about the Slovenian Space Office. I think they have been doing an enormous amount of work with very little resources, to be very clear, to be able to integrate into the European Space Agency. And I think this should be mentioned here. Then, of course, when it comes to the different programs and the work, I look very much forward to have one full member state more around the council table. This will give more input to the discussion. It's also important to see how we can work together in the future with the Slovenian companies between the delegations, because we should not forget, I mean, space is growing. We talk about commercial space, but the institutional part, the government part, remains a very important part, and we have to work together also to benefit fully from the opportunities ESA gives. We have discussed the geo-return earlier on, that you can reap the full benefits, and I would very much look forward to the future. I mean, you will be participating in science programs in the future, so this is the starting point, this is the backbone of ESA, and welcome to ESA. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Krpoun. Zdaj bodo naši govorci na voljo za vprašanje. All our speakers will be available for questions right now, so if there's any questions, če imate vprašanja, prosim, na dan z besedo. Ukoliko vprašanj ni, if there's no questions, thank you, hvala lepa, da ste prišli in lep dan še naprej.